beautiful unicorns. Yana Kasperczak coming into you live from Fergus, Ontario, your spiritual awakening core energy coach. I would love to hear where you guys are actually coming in from and watching me, if you're watching me live or if you're watching me on replay. So that way I get to see who is watching my videos and approximately what time. So one day I can gauge to go live around those times that are best convenient for you guys. Okay, so today, where's my title? I moved my my title around, so it is a little bit it looks different on the screen. Anyway, so today's title that I have for you guys today, or not title, the topic that I have for you guys, the title stuck in my head because Facebook was telling me I will reach broader audience by adding a title to my live video. So I'm like, okay, let me do the title. Copy paste it in the top line. So if you see a double, you'll know why. Okay, so today's topic is how to organize yourself, your and your day for success. So I'll share with you basically how I structure my day. I'm gonna share my journal. The new one I just started. The other one I have put away, and I have filed it away with my what do you call them? The things that you hold on to, your memorabilia. There you go. I'm just trying to picture what the word is on the box that I wrote. So it's memorabilia box that I have. And so I'll show you how to do that and how to structure my weeks, and so that way I can get things done. And I like to keep it very clean and straightforward. My mind is already busy as is, so that's why it's important to organize and declutter everything, right? And this is essentially what I do with my journal. I don't go and buy those those calendar journals because I find that there's not enough space for the things for me to do the things the way I want to do, and everyone's journals and the way that they track their days is going to be a little different because what's important to me is not necessarily going to be important to you. But the way that I'm going to share that I do my journal has worked for me for the past, I want to say, 3 years. And there was time when I stopped doing it, and I find myself when I don't go and get this part completed, either at the end of my day or throughout the week, so that way that there is a bookend. Bookends are very important for us, so that way we know we feel that something is completed and done. And that's why many of you that are working from home, you don't feel like there's that bookend, that completion between the separation between your work and your life, right? Whereas you go into work, you know that there's separation. You left your office, the door slammed behind you, you're like, peace out, fuckers, that's it, I'm done, right? Whereas when you're at home, there isn't that separation. So you got to figure that out all on your own and what works best for you. And the fact that it takes time to figure out is absolutely fine. It's supposed to take your time. You're not supposed to figure that out right away. If you knew all the answers like in the beginning of life, it wouldn't be fun to go through it. It's like, well, why would I go and explore the very things that I already know? What's the point? The point of life is to go and explore the unknown, the very unknown, and the deepest, darkest, the scariest caves. And there's one in particular that is the deepest, the darkest for every human being, and that is the one within, right? So that's why it's important to go within and find that balance for you. Okay, so today we're talking about the I don't know why I'm not seeing comments. Oh, now I see comments in a different way when I kind of collapse them and move them. Okay, well, hi Rebecca, hi Debbie. Thank you, ladies, for being on here with me. Um, Good morning, good morning. Debbie says my desk needs cleaning. I've been piling papers on it that need to be sorted. Okay, so let's chat about that part just for a little bit. Really, Debbie, what you're missing is what or you're looking for is a system, right? You might already have a system in place. So I'll use an example that was shared with me this weekend, and I have gotten to a place in my life where now I am feeling quite comfortable saying certain characters and who they are, and sharing that part of my journey. So my mom was my family was over this past weekend on Sunday, and my mom, she knows what I do. She loves having conversations with me and loves asking for help, tips and tricks and advice and things like that. And she was asking me a little bit of for help with dad on, one thing in particular that she was talking about is this. So both of them, they work from home. They have their own online store. They sell stamps, like the stamps that you put on envelopes. They collect them from around the world. They have different ones. It's like when you have your hobby and you can turn it into your passion or business and career. And a lot of people believe that it's just so beautiful and so glamorous, and that there's happiness and joy all the time, but not from where I'm observing. Um, or at least not for not for the whole time, right? There are times, which means that no matter what you do, there's going to be stressors. No matter what you do, there's going to be different things that you're not gonna like or love about what you're doing, right? Which means that you still gotta get your hands dirty a little bit. So now my mom was sharing with me that he my dad has separated his that his desk is clutter. That there's so many piles, so many things at his desk that he doesn't know where anything is. Okay, so I step into coach slash not daughter there, but just a coach to step in, and I just try to understand what my mom was saying, where she's coming from. Let me see if I can move it. Oh, there we go. I'll set up my setup a little differently so I can see the comments better, and it's not looking at the bottom of the screen, so it looks like I'm completely looking down. So my mom is telling me that so he has his files, and I'm asking questions, right? So she's telling me that she's naming all of these files. So he has this file right here, and he has this file right here, and each pile that she's telling me, it has a name. So I lean in and I simply just ask one question, but it's more of an open-ended question, right? Where so you're telling me that he has a system and that he is organized, right? He said, no, 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 he's not. He has piles and it's mess everywhere. But he knows what each pile is and where it is and what it's for. So it's organized. He knows where everything is. So she paused for a moment because it takes sometimes a little bit of a shift of perception for all of us. And still for me as well. My kids are great teachers with that as well. Your kids too, just like my mom's kid, right? Just to shift the perception of I'm looking at this in a different way because he's sitting here with his piles, and to him, I'm saying like to him, it's if I'm gonna put this away, I'm not gonna see it. I'm not gonna get it done, right? Because he's seeing it as out of mind, out of sight, which means if I put it out of sight, it's going to be out of mind and I'm less likely to do it. So that's not the outcome he wants. The outcome he wants is to get all these things done. And in order for those things to get done is for that pile to be there. So, Debbie, that pile that is on your desk, how does that stamp example resonate with you, right? Is it something that is just a complete total mess? Or is it helping you? Or is it not? Is it motivating you? Is it not? Because here's the other thing. My solution for my mom was, I love that, visual organization, okay? That was my solution for my mom, by the way. I told her, why don't you get him a gift. And my mom instantly kind of like leans in and goes, "What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of gift, right?" So my idea for the gift was get him a drawer, like a clear drawer bin organizer for him. Maybe a couple of different ones that he can put on his desk and see everything through it, right? Everything will be visible and it will not be out of mind, out of sight. It will be something that is going to actually make you both happy because you he gets to see all of his things that are important and that are his main projects. It's like an artist, right? When you go to an artist and they're in the middle of the project and they're painting, or when I'm in the middle of the project and I am putting together, whether it's a webinar or a workshop or whatever it is that I'm in the middle of putting together, I'm not gonna do it in a clean way because I don't want to waste my time and energy keeping everything clean and organized necessarily during that time. It's going to be organized and it's going to be messy. It's going to be organized chaos. But in the meantime, it's absolutely fine. But if I had those storage bins, if I have those things and I can see all of my stuff, and some things I don't want to see, I'll put them away because that's the purpose of those things being in those drawers. Like for example, the I have a tower of stickers, three drawers, and they're separated, and they're not see through because I don't want to see that. To me, that's like unnecessary clutter mess. But now, when you're talking about a bunch of notes and papers, now my solution, what I did with my notes and papers, because I have maybe 6 years worth like of notes and papers. And when I say 6 years worth, I mean like almost every day taking notes and writing things. And not the journal that I'm going to share with you guys. Not that kind of keeping um, track and organizing your day and structuring and making sure that the most important things are done for you. Is that I actually just put them all away in um, behind a drawer in a cabinet in the cupboard. It's in my office. I know exactly where it is. I can go to it. I can open it, and it's practically stacked to the very top. But the reason why I put it away is because my intention with it was like my intention to go through it was to repurpose and reuse content in a way that of who I am now versus who I was then. And I still want to do that, but I don't see myself doing that anytime soon. So therefore, I put that away until that becomes the pending project. And when that becomes a pending project, then it will be in front of me in the way that it will become visible, it becomes a sore thumb that you can't ignore, that I will get it done. Right? Same goes for like, we all want to get in the habit of you used something, let's say from the storage room, from the cold room, you came down and you took, I don't know, a couple of cooking dishes, cooking trays, and you went upstairs and you cooked with them, and you want to get in the habit of putting all those things away. And sometimes you have a party and those things gather, and you want to get in the habit of putting all of those things away. But let's be honest, most of us don't actually put them away where they go. Most of us, we come in and put it in the area where they go, and then this is how we end up with piles of things that then need to be sorted and put away, right? So essentially what I'm talking about is whether it's visual organization, whether it's just organizing and decluttering in general, whether it's structuring your day for success, or your whether your personal life or your business or whatever it is that you are doing. But essentially it just goes into these two categories, at least from what I have experienced thus far. It just goes into work, life, work, life, work, life, work, life, right? That's it. And I believe that the scale, the balance between the work and life, as I'm going to take this clip off to share with you guys how I do my things, is balance is not you feeling amazing all the time. Balance is you feeling all sorts of things. And balance is really just you doing the best that you can every day and not feeling stuck as much as you might find yourself. Okay, so let me just read some comments before I go right into this, so that way this chapter essentially is wrapped up and closed. Bethany's on here. Hey, Bethany, thanks for hopping on as well live. Good morning. And she said the fire inspection went amazing. I'm not surprised. You have been passing them for quite a few years already, and it's just gonna be like fly passing with flying colors like this, right? Um, Past first time I saw my growth today, and our new cooking pants came today, and they are so elegant. Ooh, I I'm excited to see those as well. Um, that's something another thing that a lot of us also deny ourselves, and we wait until like, and that's also okay to wait until like the last minute essentially to change our cooking wear. But at the same time, the question for me comes to mind that if somebody told you that the cooking wear that you are using was full of toxins and poisons, how quickly would you run to the store and buy new ones? Versus you using your frying pans or pots that are chipping and peeling, and you keep using them thinking that you're not actually eating those chips and things that come off, because those are supposed to be replaced actually every year or every 2 years regardless. So if it lasts a year or two or even three, and if we're using it every single day, then that means we did an amazing job taking care of that product and making sure that it works well. Okay, so everything else, Debbie says that she just got ceramic pots. Ceramic. Ooh, I wonder. I haven't cooked in anything ceramic, but aside from baking, my biggest question is, and I think that's for everyone, it's sticking, right? Sticking to the ceramic, sticking to the stainless steel, sticking to whatever it is that we're cooking on. And Bethany says, yeah, ours were chipping and peeling, so it was time. My stainless steel pans are still amazing. Yeah, see, stainless steel look great, but they also do, because I know Bethany and I were talking about how the things stick to them. Okay, so now let's go into the balance of your day. We all feel amazing when we get shit done. That we said to ourselves that we wanted to get done, which actually means that we all feel amazing when we hold true to our own words to ourselves. Integrity, when we hold integrity to ourselves and with others, but most importantly with ourselves, because we lie to ourselves all the time, more often than we would like to. Um, and what I mean by what we lie to ourselves all the time is that we allow ourselves to exist in the way that we know that we're not happy with, that we know we can do better, but we allow ourselves not to because it is safer to play it small. And this right here, when you start organizing and structuring your days and you start putting on the things on the list, the things that you actually do want to get done and how you want to get them done, and the way I share with you, you can try it in that exact same way if you haven't tried anything yet. If you tried other things, try to just see what kind of speaks to you, what works for you, what doesn't, and how you would implement it in your own life. Because, like I said, and I continue saying it, what works for me does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you. You just got to figure out how it's going to work for you and what from this will work for you. Now, first of all, as you can see, stickers work amazing for me. Okay. I love stickers. As a child, there was the smell about them, and now my sense of smell is not as strong. And I know partially it is my habits, but part of it as well is having gone through depression. having gone through depression, it affects our senses. And for me, one of those senses was the sense of smell, where when I smell the rain, it does not smell the same. And this part does sadden me a little bit, because there are times and there are days where my sense of smell, like when I smell the rain, when I smell stickers, when I smell certain things, that I smell my childhood, and that feels amazing, right? Those kind of like amazing, empowering memories of when I got a sticker, how powerful I felt. Just think about it. As a kid, you get a sticker, and a sticker that you love, how amazing and powerful you felt. Maybe even unstoppable, even though it's just a sticker. Now, I don't like boring. I don't like playing. I'm all about fun and enjoyment and adventure and excitement. And and if it is not fun, I'm not going to be doing it. Which means if my book, my journal does not look fun, does not look inviting, I'm not going to be doing it. So you gotta have fun crafting, um, experimenting, doing the DIY, arts and crafts. You gotta have fun creating and creating your journal, like the skin of it, because Bethany knows this. One thing I will recommend with everyone that whether I work with you or don't work with you, with your journals, hold on to your journals, all of them, and especially the one that you are very eager to get rid of, because that is the one you're going to want the most. And if you don't feel like, I, if you feel like going back and redecorating your old ones, you can, but I don't recommend doing it, because essentially you're attaching your new self to your old self, and you do want to keep that separation, because when you're going back through your journals, you want to go through them as, you want to be able to see who you were then, and then compare to who you are now. um, so it's your form of self-expression, whatever your self-expression is. For me, it's stickers, or writing down. It started off for me as the journal for just writing down for the trip, and I'll go into it and show you. So this is why I started with the BC trip here, and with the things that I added in here. The stickers, kind of the camera is a little odd angled, and the things that I really like, and that spoke to me. I don't know if you guys can even read these little quotes, because again, the camera's not the greatest, but it still works. So I decorated on the outside when I am in that creative space. And when I go to the journal, I also make sure that I am in a creative space. Like the way that I use it, just a little binder clip right on the top to keep me right exactly on the page that I'm on. And so today's Thursday, I haven't checked anything off yet. But this is how my journal essentially looks. Okay, let me show you maybe a page that is with brighter colors. The yellow doesn't really translate as brightly. Okay, so for example, this was yesterday. Okay, this journal just started this week. So the way I do it is I separate life and business, like a literal scale. And I like to use these big pages, because there's a lot I can put in here, and I can separate. As you can see, I like the separation and the space between. As my mind is already cluttered, there's already so many different things that are happening in there, and I've learned from experience where if I put a lot on the page, I won't even look at it. The sheer amount of me remembering what I've put on there, I will not remember. And sorry, I will remember it being overwhelming, so I will not remember going back to it, because why would I remember going back to something that did not feel pleasant, right? So keeping it short and sweet and to the point. In the beginning, you might start off with this is where if you have a lot of things that you got to get out of your mind, which is also important. Like something, this journal right here, I have a few separations. The next separation is where you can actually do journaling, where you can just journal and write the things that you want to do in here. right? To get everything out of your mind. So another thing I also have, you know what? I'm just going to show you my whole entire bag to show you what I carry around, so you see what's essentially in my bags. I got this from a dollar store, by the way, and I thought, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It has a pocket here, it has a pocket here, it has a pocket here, and then this big opening in the middle. I haven't really used this part to close it, and then little pouch here with little zippers. Okay, so it's big enough for me to put one of my binder thingy, my bobbies in here, and then I have my pouch with my pencils, not so many pencils, but more like pens, the color pens, highlighters, things like that. I, again, it has to be fun. And I like arts and crafts. I like making it pretty. I like having it like a coloring book and things like that, right? If you want to doodle on it, you want to write on it, however you want to design your item, you want to have fun doing it, okay? So, and then the tools you want to use, you want to have fun doing them. Now, this one is a fun pen, but it does hurt my fingers. So I gotta switch them up once in a while, and it also reminds me to kind of rotate my pen a little bit. I went back to wearing rings all the time because to me, it's fun to write and feel a ring on it. I don't know why. It just feels more like, I don't know, more intentional is the way I would describe it. It's like instead of you, if you don't have to go into work and you're saving all of that time commuting, then why not use that time to have fun and be creative in your commute to work, right? Where you can get ready. My commute to work is from my room, slowly walking out, getting ready. My this one I actually moved. My jewelry and stuff is in the hallway. Um, in the process, I know I've shared before, but how I put jewelry on as well. The left is for me, what energy I want to give myself, and the right is what I'm going to be giving out. So this is basically what I have. I can put it this way in my bag, or I stand it up this way. Either way, it works. Then so in here, one of the journals that I have is the remember how the pile of papers that I told you that I've been collecting for years. So this is one of the things that I took from there. That was, as you can see, there's some areas where I already started doing the system in that same way. Where that's why I'm like I've tried different ways. I see what works, what doesn't work, and things like that, right? And so my plan is to start going through this to declutter, organize this as well. But I don't plan on tossing anything from here because this, again, like I said, this is a journal. I'm just going to be numbering it in a different way because I already numbered the one that I just finished as number one. The other ones are going to be, I don't know, maybe zero and then one minus two minus three minus, so kind of like the other way. However, and then again, like it doesn't might not need numbers. So I have that in here. So I'll just take them out so it'll be easier to put things back in here to kind of show you where I'm at, to show you the system that I have, but it took me, like I said, essentially 7 years to get here since I've been figuring these things out on my own. Um, and yeah, okay, so the one thing that I'm like the one project that I'm working on and going through is in here. So the next thing I have in here is just a little pouch that you probably remember from school as well. And then here is just I have a master list of the different things. You know how I told you sometimes you might have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you want to do, whether it's in your personal life or a new business or certain different projects. So this is what I have in here as well. Or maybe like a list of different things that you want to buy, but you're not ready to buy. So I have my little stickers of different things that I want to buy, or we got to buy, for example, like jacket for my son for winter. I have that on here, but when the winter comes, I'll get it and I can take it off the list. But knowing that it's here, it's out of my mind and I don't have to think about it. and it's on my in my master list. So, and then a reminder in here that every time I open, I'm like, great reminder that by changing my food, I change my mood. I was just one of those epiphany things. And then having those kind of epiphany things throughout your spaces. If you had an epiphany on, let's say today, I want you to keep that in your journal so that way it stays there. But at the same time, you can have a common space. Again, it depends what your priorities are and the things that are important to you, how you want to keep things that will help you later. For me, I also love cue cards. So on my cue cards, like quotes like that, I have an area where I just have quotes, where quotes I love, and I can pull them out and I can go through the quotes that I have on each cue card until I feel better or until I get something from it or whatever the purpose was for me to go to those cue cards or even when I'm adding, I go through them, right? And it just all it is reminders. All of us know what to do. We all know all the different things. We just need reminders of what to actually do. We know the how. Anyway, so the master list, I have one for career, then I have one for family specifically, the different things that we got to do in there, um, and the different things I am essentially procrastinating on doing, and then different things that I want to do for personal growth. So basically, like ideas, different finances, focuses and things that I'm doing well or I'm curious about exploring or looking into, right? Those different things that I have on the master list and that stays on the side. So so when do you go to the master list? Because essentially the master list is not going to be the things that you're going to put on there that are important to you, that are a priority, if you will. Those are the things that you're going to put in your running journal, as I like to call it. So in here, I will also put, like, let's say, bills we gotta pay, different things that are coming up within that month. I will put it in there, the things that are pending to do, but they're not like, even if they have to be done, let's say next week, I will write a reminder and here, let's say I gotta pay credit card. So pay credit card, and I will put the amount and I'll put that in my book, but I'm not gonna hold all of the papers that come with it. So the actual bill, I'll hold it in here just in case, so that way I don't forget to pay. So, um, so in here, like I said, you're going to be putting just the things that you're working on. So this is where we were, and the way I do it is I put like a little. Let me just open it this way. It's backwards for me. So I put a little square, and then I put a check mark on the things that I do complete, and then I'll put a line across and highlight the things that I do complete and the things that I don't. So that way they're not highlighted, they just stay clear. So that way it's easy to see what's not done. And when I go to the next day and I'm planning my Thursday like I did yesterday, last night, it's becomes much easier where I just move everything right over. That one is not highlighted, and then I move it to the next to this day to Thursday if I'm doing it today. If I'm not, if I'm looking at my schedule and I see that I do not have the space for it, then I'm gonna move it to the next day or the next week. And also, this is kind of like the other thing that I started doing myself is that, as you'll notice, if I go through this page, you have life here, you have business here. If I go on this page, it's going to be business here, life here. And then on this page, it's going to be life here, business here. So it's not the same. It's not like right side is life and the left side is business. They are changing. And the reason for that is because if I were to pull this page out, I will have life on both sides. And I pull this page out, I have business on both sides. So that way they're kind of like staying together for that, for those 2 days. And I don't particularly exactly know why. I feel like I don't really need a reason why. It's just I felt like it. And then as you can see, I haven't really added stickers much to these ones, but previously I was putting stickers, and I don't use stickers every single day, even though I would like to. but I don't find myself using them every single day because I feel like even just opening itself and seeing all of these, I feel like it's already enough until I have felt like I've seen those stickers enough, then I'll probably end up moving to adding more stickers into here, even though I do have some. So that's that. So this is how my day is structured. I try to put everything I possibly can in here, so that way, like I said, if I go back or somebody else goes back and sees what how my day was, what I did throughout the day, I can also, or they can see where improvement can be made, or how someone operated, or how someone lived. You can understand a person a little bit more, or myself, right? When I go back, I can see essentially what state of mind I was in, what I was doing, or at least I would remember, right? For the most part. And but most importantly, it's so we can reflect and improve and course correct. Then the other thing that I have for my, so this is where the things that I want, like the habits, the the daily activities, the certain things that I want to have and embody in my life are put on these cue cards. And again, as you can see, I gotta have fun with them. So this one here is my socials DMO. So I put in here, I'm still working through them as I'm trying to figure out this system for them, how best to essentially structure each cue card for it to appear, to look, to be as I have in my journal, right? But this is focused on the most important daily method of operation is doing those most important things that are for social DMO, and that is for business growth, right? As an entrepreneur, you got to show yourself online. So I got all the things that I got to do in here on the cue cards, and like I said, I'm trying to figure out the things that are important to do, put them on the main ones, and then for each and every one, for each and every task and activity, I separate and write one on here. So even though this one says socials DMO, on that main one, because I just want to have a main one for I don't know. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. If it's just gonna be a main one for the business, a main one for life, but right now I'm just gonna keeping them together in one space as I figure this part out for myself that will get me to feel excited and want to do these things, as in like want to open them and look at them and check them off, that without having to rewrite them and redo them all the time, right? So I basically write explanation of what each thing that I would like to do and what I mean when I say mindfulness practices, um, what that means to me, what I want to do with it, and then the posting. Anyways, basically um, that part. And then there is for self love and self care. So in this one here, I write down. This is where for some of you, you might not need that. For me, I felt like I needed it, where I needed the reminder of get ready for the day like a give a fuck, right? Working from home, more often than not, we can find ourselves staying in our comfort zone, meaning in the pajamas and sweatpants, and and wear the same clothes for days. Been there, done that, and we can get ripe, right? Without even caring to go and wash or take care of yourself, because then what's the point, right? This is where there's different degrees of depression, really, because when someone loves themselves, they wouldn't feel bad about themselves in the many areas that some of us do feel bad, right? So anyways, on here I wrote down brush teeth, brush hair, do makeup, put shoes on, because I find that some days I need to wear shoes in the house to feel like I'm actually, like, to separate myself from being at home and working. where I put my shoes on and I'm going into work. Physically, I literally, like, I kid you not, right now, I'll actually show you to prove it to you that I'm not kidding when I say this. I actually have shoes on right now. Can you see? I actually have shoes on right now, both feet, but I'm showing you one. So, because today is one of those days where I just feel like I want to wear shoes because I can run with shoes on. I can run easier and faster, and it's just like it just feels different. Now these shoes, of course, are clean. I don't wear my outdoor shoes inside, and if I do, I clean them and wash them because otherwise I'm the one that has to clean the house. So the less I gotta clean, the better. So I literally put different things in here. Make coffee, water, or tea for the day. Open windows and listen to nature. Read, meditate, practice stillness, journal, exercise, dance. Listen to listen to it and write it down, and the universe will manifest it for you. But listen to Joe Dispenza's um, meditation or something, and then journal, review, reflect, process, dream. And then those things, like each one has its own meaning to me. So when I would look at it, and of course, to me, right here, as I'm looking at this cue card, by the way, just again, this I gotta figure out how to keep it straight there. As I'm looking at this cue card, this is overwhelming. To me, this is a lot. Even though it's on a small page, what I'm gonna do with it is I'm just going to keep the top part, and I'm gonna get rid of the bottom part and just stretch this out, right? Or maybe add different things to it, keeping it simpler and smaller, and then certain habits, personality traits, and skills that I want, which is a great list to have, and then not just to have, but to work towards, to move towards, to aspire to, until you become that way. So that's pretty much it. And then I have my extra cue cards in case I feel the inspiration or motivation uh, to get something done or rewritten or refixed. Yeah, that's it. So I think that pretty much describes the my whole entire system. I told you this right here's where I'll have all the pencils, crayons, and markers. Oh, and I have some of them in the bag as well, but I have some of them in here. So that way I have everything in the go. I can just grab this little dollar store. Guys, dollar store is amazing. You want those clear bins to organize your space? Dollar store, Dollar Tree, whatever store that you have that has the word dollar in it, that's the one you're going to want to be going to, where you can organize your spaces. You can organize your bags. You can get bags like that. Like that bag, I think cost me maybe $4, and I've had it for 2 years. I have not washed it. It is solid. It's like really, really thick kind of canvas, and the inside it is almost waterproof, and it's recycled, or at least it says recyclable. Well, maybe the bag itself is not. Actually, no. I remember the tag said it was recycled materials or something like that, and that's why that name was in there. You want to feel you want to feel happy, you want to feel excited, you want to feel motivated, you want to feel inspired, and the way to do that is through fun and enjoyment. Is through how can you have fun doing this. In other words, what you're really asking is, what's in it for me? What do I get out of doing this, right? What do I get out of doing, like, having this system in place for me? I get a peace of mind, I get a clear mind, I get to actually see what I see and remember the things that are important to me, the things that I gotta do, and the things that I continue moving that perhaps that they're not even for me. So I get to understand myself in the process. I get to understand other people in my life by the different things that they add on my to-do list as well. Um, just to name a few things. There's so many different reasons why, but it is it comes down to functionality, fulfillment, clarity, and navigation is what I is the word that coming to mind. Where you're actually like able to navigate because you know exactly where you're going, because you can see where you're going. But if you're keeping track of what you're doing and what you're not doing, you can see where you're going. I could see where I was going with my life and with my business, and it does not take you very long to see essentially where you start going back to your old self, where you, especially if you can keeping track of all the things that you're doing, and especially the things that maybe you don't want to be doing as much, whatever it is, or you want to be doing more of. Keeping track of those things can help you see everything more clearly. For so different things that I have helped women to keep track of is habits. Essentially, that's really what it falls under: a specific habit of negative thinking, specific habit of an addiction, a specific addiction, whether like the addiction list can be like it is so long at this point that it is not limited to just drugs and alcohol. Addiction list is long. Okay, people even get addicted to even collecting items, like collecting pens, and to them it just becomes like a little much, and they don't know what to do with it, right? So going addictions help us to really understand the roots even more so. Okay, so I think with that being said, that's mostly everything that I mean. I don't plan of what I'm gonna say, just of what I'm gonna be bringing, and I was just planning on showing you just my journal, but I decided to show you my whole entire organizing system that helps me get ready for the day, and also that's not to say that every day I go back and look through what I did and didn't do. I try to do that every single day, but it doesn't always work out that way because I know, and here's the reason why. It's because from the previous days, I know that there is many things that most of the things that are already done, and maybe a couple of things that are not done, and I have already moved them over to the next day. So what I do once a week is go through the whole entire week, like I did yesterday evening. Sometimes I do this more than once a week, but I go through the day. You know how I showed you I had the little clip. So the things that I haven't completely done and haven't checked off, like this check mark means that I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to even look at this page. Just ignore it, type of a thing, right? Um, this check mark, I'll have my clip, and then the previous ones I wouldn't have the check mark because that means that there's certain things that I haven't fully gone through or haven't moved, because some of them might be ideas that I want to move to the master list, or I want to discuss with someone and I want to make sure that it's done. And then if I do it, let's say I had it on the list. What's this? Let's say I had it on the list on Monday, and I did something from Monday today, and I haven't gone through this completion. What I would do then is then, as I'm completing it or as I'm doing it, I will put it in brackets and say the day that I actually did that action without having to rewrite it, without having to move it over, right? Um, so, and I only do that essentially as I'm, how would I put it? As I'm reflecting back and reviewing what I've done, what I haven't done, and seeing the balance or not balance, and helps me understand where I'm at, where I'm going, and see that perhaps this day I spent way too much on personal life and nothing in the business, or very, very, very little, right? So that means that tomorrow I'm going to be feeling a certain way. And by looking at the previous day, I can clearly see why. It's like, well, yesterday I decided to do everything around the house and not show up in the spaces where I have decided that I was going to, going against my integrity, and this is where we start to feel bad. And then those are the things that we can also find ourselves feeling quickly go back through the comments because I know I haven't looked at them for a little bit. Um, Let me see. This is where we're talking about front ends. And then Rebecca hopped on. Hey, Rebecca. When we show up for ourselves, can count on ourselves, trust ourselves. This has been been a struggle for me. So when we show up for ourselves, can count on ourselves, trust ourselves. This is so. Be It sounds like what the struggle was for you is showing up for ourselves and being able to count on yourself, which can often lead us to not trust ourselves. And that is often the struggle. And so I feel like that's what I'm hearing here because that sounds like, yeah, when we when we show up ourselves, we feel great. We feel amazing. And when we don't show up for ourselves, when we don't count on ourselves, when we say we're going to do this and then when we don't do it, then that goes against our integrity. And that is the reason why we feel bad. And that is a struggle. Exactly. I feel like that's exactly what I just finished talking about. And now we're going back to the comments. And it's like a perfect full circle. And next thing Bethany says, the last thing on my list today is schoolwork with Uri, which we'll be doing in the next couple of minutes. Perfect, which will be done. Debbie says, like doodles on book covers in high school. Yeah, because I think you were talking about um, the book covers, right, and your journals, as you are on this side as well. This is when we're driving, and I just started doodling with the with one highlighter that I had that was still alive and with a pen that I had because I didn't have very many colors, so I was bored. I didn't want to go on a device. I was taking a break from tech as well, so I was just in my own space. So doodling also great way to you can even doodle in your journal itself when you need that moment to just think and process to give yourself that space to just let things go through. You can doodle in there, make it nice and pretty for yourself. And Bethany says, haha, yes, always hold on to them. I didn't do that with my first two, and now I have 22 journals. Nice. 21, almost 22. Yeah, because I remember that conversation as well. And I knew from my own experience of how you would feel, but I also knew that it wasn't necessarily my place to tell you how you were going to be feeling because you would feel differently. And for a time you did feel differently, and then after a while, I know you wished you had them back. But those are the lessons that we learn the best because I myself have done that, and that's how I learn, right? But I think that's also the hardest part of coaching, or not even of just coaching, of being a human being, and and it's just letting people make their own mistakes, and without us having to educate them and help them try to avoid making those mistakes, because the best mistakes that any one of us can make are the ones that are going to be the most painful ones, and we learn them for life. And then we can help others not to make those mistakes in different ways, right? Maybe just by sharing the story. And then Debbie says maybe I could start another sketchbook until the words come. That's the other thing, right? Distract these side journeys of, like, the phrase that comes to mind is like, Yana, because this is something that someone would say to me, that it comes from a place of love, that you could use your time better, but why are you doing this, right? Something my husband would say, Yana, why are you wasting your time with doodling and coloring in the notebook? Just do it. You don't have to write things down, right? That's also the masculine approach. And the masculine approach is great, and it's also a great reminder that very often we can spend too much time avoiding doing something. But what Debbie is saying is like, maybe I could start another sketchbook until words come, until like you're ready to do something. So yesterday when I spent, I don't know, maybe an hour just going through this really slow, going through all of these systems, right, that I have, I'm making sure that it's it's flowing and it's good and it's ready and it's I'm ready to go to the next day and it's clean slate, so to speak, right? That some people would say that it's a waste of time to write, rewrite, to color, to highlight, to go through all of these things. But I believe, at least in my experience, it is very important because this is creation in motion. You are creating, you are being creative and curious, and you're expanding your horizons by just exploring and by doing something fun and creative. And believe it or not, that is extremely important for your success in whatever you're doing. If you're struggling to get that next best idea, or for book writers, it's that next best book or next bestseller. What they do is they'll do they'll follow their intuition. Basically, what they do, your intuition may be telling you to start another sketchbook. That's going to be the next thing that's going to help you bring you into the next thing that going to be doing, that you're meant to do. And for someone who might be experiencing uh, creator's block, writer's block, we experience this as well as we create and write books on social media. You got to go and do something different to take yourself away from this. Because if you're sitting here and you're trying to, it's like, how many times have you tried to remember either it's a name of a book or name of a movie or a name in general? Try to remember something. And the more you force yourself try to remember, the further away you felt yourself from remembering. And in the moment that you're like, you know what, forget it. I don't need to remember. The moment that you let go of the need to remember, you remembered. Same thing. Okay. Next comment. Then Libby says, love that. And then Debbie says, I started putting and oh, I think it went all the way to the bottom. I started putting an apron on for different activities, like one for cleaning, another for cooking, third for craft. So it's like getting ready for my task. I love that idea. It's like my shoes for me. If I sometimes go outside with no shoes because it's like I said, getting ready for a task. For me, if I'm going outside without shoes, my task is gardening, yard work, and the intention behind it is to get grounded to my limit, right? To get so grounded that I'm like woozing out groundedness, and I can go and give my woos to everyone else. Right. So that's awesome. It's like uniforms, right? You're doing a specific task. You go to walk a dog, you can wear a specific outfit. You go to the gym, you're not gonna wear your work clothes to the gym, right? You go to cook, you put one apron on. You go to clean, you put a different apron on, or maybe different shoes. It doesn't necessarily have to be apron. It does not necessarily have to be an outfit. It could be maybe even a hat. Just do something different with it, right? For example, my jewelry is my makeup. It's like my outfit. It's my costume. But I don't always put these things on. There's times when I'm just like, I don't want to wear any of this. I'm just gonna go outside naked. Obviously not naked, but that thought hasn't crossed my mind to go in my backyard and enjoy myself in my birth suit. But the neighbors are still close enough to see, and it's not that I don't feel comfortable. It's just I don't want certain prying eyes, and at the same time, I don't have enough practice and experience to feel comfortable doing such things. Right? Okay. So then Rebecca says it is a journal. Is it a journal or to-do list? Why keep old lists? I still have some of my old lists, but I am a little confused. Okay, so that's a great question. You don't have to keep old lists per se. It depends on the list and depends on what you are doing. So the pile that I refer to that I have, yes, of course, there's going to be some lists that I have on there that are like the journal, like I have here, where the things that I've done, I haven't done, that's still going to be there. But there's also going to be some great ideas, some great things in there. And the reason why I keep these things is because for me personally, you can put whatever you want in a journal based on what you want to keep. For me personally, I want to keep it because I want to see how I live my life, how my days went, what I did with my life, what I did with my days. And at the same time, it also came from a question that was asked of me when, you know, as many of you entrepreneurs or working from home and you try and start your new endeavors, you might have been asked a question like, "What did you do all day? You had so much time, so many hours. What did you do all day?" Your moms have heard this one before many times. The house looks like a disaster. It looks like a mess. What did you do all day? Well, let me let me show you. So this was actually what inspired me to start keeping track, on top of keeping track of how much time I would spend in certain activities, certain actions, certain things, or how many things I also, like I was saying earlier, if I feel a certain way today and I look back at my journal yesterday and the day before, I can see that I haven't spent any time doing the very things that I said I wanted to do or needed to do. So therefore, I'm going to feel a certain way about it, right? And we that energy of what we didn't do, that shame and guilt, we often don't actually deal with it right there in a spot. We kind of move past it, and all of us do it. It's it's almost like, well, it's not bothering me. I'll be fine. Like, you don't always go and deal with a splinter unless it's bothering you. Sometimes you might not even realize you have a splinter until it's bothering you or it's infected, and then you're like, oh, I have a splinter. I gotta deal with that. So concept is the same on this one. Okay, then hopefully that kind of answers your question. But if you don't see a need for holding on to it and keeping it, then you don't have to. Just, I wouldn't invite you to let that be. It's like when it comes to organizing and decluttering, one thing I love doing is, I'm gonna use the kitchen drawer as an example. And this can be used for anything. In this case, it could be used for these journals. So these journals that you have, or this kitchen drawer that you have, full of notes or to-do lists or different things in there, what you can do is you can put it all together in one box and put it, let's say, in the garage. And that box, basically, the purpose of that box, or putting it in the garage or putting it in whatever space that you decide, the purpose of it would be that if you don't use it, and then next so and so, you get to decide how long that is. If you don't use it, if you don't change your mind about it, or whatever stays in this box, is going to get donated or thrown out. That's essentially what the purpose of that box is. Meaning that if it's the kitchen tools, if you need certain tools, you go back to that box, you take them out, and you use them. And whatever is not used in, let's say, 6 months to a year, then you would just toss it. It could be less. But the purpose of the box in this instance, with these journals or these lists, would be to see if maybe you do want to go back to it. Because some of us, like I do have attachment to papers and notes, because there might be something awesome that I wrote down that would change my life, or was the epiphany, or something that I've learned, because I was also going through a lot of learning. Like, I kid you not, I would watch even Netflix shows and take notes on that stuff. And so I would learn from different sources. So I know that there is a shit ton of value in those notes, and that still has not changed to this day. It would just be regurgitated in different way. So that's just a little bit more of why one would keep notes and journals or even to-do lists. to see what were the things that I was doing or what I was interested in doing at that time. And then 10 years from now, you look back and you're like, wow, those are the things I thought that were the most important things to do. And now my list is so different based in comparison that it's just like you'll be worlds away. Or it might still be very same because you have noticed and figured yourself out, and you are doing things in the same similar fashion as you once did. And then Debbie says, I like the bag method. I use a lot of baskets. Yep. Organizing yourself by bags, by spaces, especially like this bag is my going bag. If I'm going anywhere and I know I'm gonna have time to go through my items or get some things done, I'm gonna bring the whole entire bag with me. It's like a work bag, right? And then Rebecca says, when I look back at old lists, I see how much things have changed, but more so how much things have not changed. And that's the other thing, right? That could be an indicator that if you are not happy with the things, like how much they have not changed, that could be an indicator that you have allowed things to stay the same even though you perhaps did not want to, and somehow it wasn't important, or for some reason it wasn't important, and maybe it is now, and then you go and you change that, right? It just wasn't in your awareness at that point, and now it is. Rebecca says, I'm addicted with collecting shoes and earrings. Hmm. I went through a time when I was collecting a lot of earrings and I had a lot of earrings. I still have a lot of earrings, but I literally, as you guys see, I wear like one set. I wear one set for a while, and then I get bored of them. I move on to a different one, and just wear the same ones over and over again. I don't change them much. I love your shirts. Thank you. Thank you. I love this one too. Trust in the universe. My most recent journal entry was ago. My most recent journal entries are doodles. That's a journal entry as well, right? Whatever is in there, and that's fine. You're getting things out of your head, and I don't know, Picasso's coming to mind. Right? Picasso might not have journaled with words; he might have journaled with images, with pictures. Hey, honestly, there is emotions in the art. There's feelings and emotions. Chances are, years from now, you look at that doodle and you're gonna feel a certain way, the way that you felt then, because you'll know exactly what the doodle was. Even if you don't remember, your body will remember what the doodle was, because your body was the one that created that artwork, right? And then Rebecca says it's setting intentions, right? I think at that point, yeah, I would imagine we were talking about setting intentions at that point. And a great idea, thumbs up. I read things I wrote 15 years ago, Debbie says, and it was healing to know I got through it and grew, right? Reflecting back on the journey as well, reading the things that you wrote 15 years ago, seeing who you were, what you were going through, what you were growing through, your pain, your suffering, your ups and downs, your joys, your excitements, everything. That why not? There are so we met a couple uh, on our glamping trip. And those of you that don't know what glamping is glamorous camping or camping in style, which means that you're not doing it in a tent, you're doing it in a camper. That was asking me a couple of times, so I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what I'm talking about, and maybe you want to go glamping yourself. But we met a couple, and which one of the things that she shared with me throughout this, I think it was like a 2 hour conversation that we had. Um, one of the conversations that we had, and then there was another 2 hour conversation later that we had. So what she shared with us is that a few years ago she started keeping her travel logs. So every time they go, her and her husband, they go on vacations. Every time they can take a vacation that their job allows, they book them, they schedule them, and they go on vacations. Every weekend they're going on their glamping trips to different places, different towns, different cities within Ontario for the most part, but they also drive out. So she's been keeping journals for all of the travels, where they went, the days, the times. Now I have a notification that says, look back at your memory, September 14th. Like, she gets to look back at her memories of last weekend, previous weekend. She writes down the people they met, what was interesting about those people, the conversations, right? Different things that they experienced, how was, different things about the campground where they were staying at. So she shared with me, I got to learn more from her than I did from the website about the camping ground that we were going to the following weekend. So, and then she invited me to the Facebook group with something I wrote down, post an RV group, because I still am trying to get find time to go and post, because to me it's important. That's why it's on this list. And I met her. I can probably go, not through this journal. We met her. I actually remember because we met them the last weekend of August. And so that was what, 3 weeks ago we met them, and I still haven't had time to post in the group, but I want to post in the group to share our images and our time from that place. And also because she clearly loves that group. She even had the shirt, the sweater that the group sells. It's all about like branding as well that the group is doing. And I thought, I'm like, oh my god, that would be awesome. I get to learn so much information. If I could learn that much information from one person who is just so, I'm gonna say, like, obsessed and passionate and dedicated to traveling, and that is the very thing that like, to her, this is what she's going to be keeping track of. She's not going to be keeping track of to-do lists and all these different things. Maybe she does. We can get to that conversation, but that's her journaling. Figure out what you're going to be excited about journaling and keeping track of. For me, it's my to-do list, because my other journaling, I do it in different ways. Most of it is just like really just being. I don't particularly keep track of my growth journey in that way, of my what I'm growing through, what I'm talking through, what I'm doing, things like that, because I find these videos do more than enough and talk more than enough. Because if I am keeping records for myself, because I did that for a while as well, by doing my video journaling, I do it in that same way, as if I'm talking to the audience, right? I don't know what it is. I've just become this way when it comes to doing videos. I guess mostly because this is where have seen myself being back when. Anyways, this is probably one of my longest videos, and I hope it was helpful for you guys. I would love to hear anything else that has come up for you. I know you guys also share as you go as well, but I love to hear. You know what? I'll ask a different question. What is the one area in your life right now, whether it's in your life or in your space, like your physical life around you, in your house, in your work, or somewhere in a physical space, or in your mental space, where you feel like there is a lot of mess, chaos, clutter, and you want me to talk about that one specific area to help you organize it and clean it up, to put things in the garbage, to put things to give away, to put things on the in the pondering box, the maybe box. We'll see and sit on it. Um, and the things that are definite yes, that you love them. Whatever it is that you are doing, whatever form of tracking you decide to do for yourself. This is really what today was about, is how do you want to track your days? How do you want to track your life? What do you want to leave behind for other people to look through, to read through, right? When I say that I don't journal, I don't actually mean that I don't journal. What I mean is that I don't have the need to journal or write out how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, because I've been there, I've done that. That's why when I go through my journals, that will be in there. But it is also still in my journals here because there are times when that is the only form that helps me to release. And I'm like, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. The only things that I have been writing in for the past, I would say, year or so, and there in a journal, would be relationship things. Just the things that my partner, my husband, had triggered me with or about, and me working through it, or me writing him a letter, or me responding, and then essentially because that becomes practice. That's me working through it because I've already walked, I've already ran, I've already talked, or I just can't talk because there's just too much of this. It just makes me think of when you have the music playing and you have that if you've been to a club or anywhere where there's music playing and you have the sound machine where you stand close to it and you'll feel the vibration. It's essentially that's what I feel like happens on the inside where I like these vibrations that they're trying to come out from all sides of me and I just can't. I need to hold myself and this is where the writing comes in place, right? So that's pretty much the only things that I really journal about. Everything else, honestly, I have the tools and I have the things in place that I work through them. There is like the only reason why I journal is this is because it helps me to see the pain and the suffering clearly and at the same time to get the message out of me clearly and maybe one day share that with him and then often it is that same day, not necessarily the picture, but it helps me to phrase it in a way that makes sense, right? And get the message across to him. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the only things I journal about. Then Rebecca says, "Thank you, Yana. You're welcome." It also says, our environment is a reflection of our brain, 100%. So my brain must be disorganized and messy, probably, probably. I'm not gonna disagree. I know that when my spaces are messy and disorganized, my brain is that same way. I know and when I say my spaces, I also mean this space, this space. My bag is disorganized. That's one space. My desk, my kitchen, because I'm still responsible for that. My office. You know how I was talking about we often don't put things away. We use things from the storage room and we don't put them away, we just put them in the vicinity. The storage room, there's things in there that need to get put away and organized. So it's it also says that if we are paying attention, because I have learned to pay attention and I pay attention and I see that this is also natural, not natural, the program patterns, the habits, where I keep finding myself with cluttering certain spaces again or recluttering certain spaces again so I can declutter them again. It's almost like I create these fun projects for myself because I enjoy doing them. Because if everything is done in the house, I don't have that to do anywhere else, and I enjoy doing that. So it's like I subconsciously create these things for myself to do, and at the same time, perhaps it's self-sabotaging. And at the same time, if I pay attention, I have been paying attention to where the mind is going, how the mind is that just and I'm going to end here. So with the mindset of I'm gonna leave you to think about this, Rebecca, and you can leave it in the comments. And if you want to chat about it, message me as well. We can chat about it. But think about it in this way: when the the mindset of a person who takes, I'm gonna use this example. I'm going to use my example from the weekend because I'm trying to make it as easy as possible and as digestible as possible. So I'll give you two versions of myself, right? One I'm still working towards, and the other one is existing. So my family comes over on Sunday. For Sunday, there are a bunch of dishes that I have in the storage room, which is right behind you guys. Okay. There's a storage room there, and then this way you would go all the way around, you would go all the way upstairs, and then all the way the other way to the kitchen. Sounds like it's a massive house, but it's not. But it's still, it's a journey to walk from one end to the other end of the house, or almost the other end. So here, excuses in there, right? Pay attention. Excuses. Far, a lot of steps, other end of the house. Dialogue conversation is important, right? So that's one mindset. And my parents are coming over. There's a lot of things that I'm bringing to make sure that I have the trays, I have the dishes, and certain things get used, certain things don't get used. The things that are not getting used, they're left in the hallway in the closet, so I can bring them downstairs when everything else is done and clean. And then the things that are being used, I will bring them downstairs after they're clean and washed and whatnot, right? So then I bring it downstairs, all of the items, I bring them downstairs and I put them on the floor in the middle of the room. Meanwhile, the space of where they go is, I shit you not, 2 steps, maybe 3 steps away from where I put it. Okay. Now, because there's other things on the floor already. So that's one mindset. Now, another mindset. Parents come over, I take the items upstairs. The things that I'm not using, I bring downstairs. I put them away exactly where they belong, taking all the steps that are required, the extra 2, 3 steps that are required to put it away. And then I go back upstairs and do everything else. Then the next day, when everything is clean and done, I take those dishes and I come downstairs and I put them away where it belongs, and making sure everything is nice and lined and centered. And then I walk away. How what kind of a mindset is one Yana versus the other, and how successful is one Yana versus another? What How clear is her mind? There's a lot of questions that can come to mind, but what kind of a lifestyle do you think one Yana is living versus the other? Does this one complete things, or does she not complete things? Does this one complete things? Does she not complete things? Does this Yana suffer in her mind? And does this Yana suffer in her mind? Right? Because if we're talking about leading up to the the dark place where we're gonna go into our cocoon, this gradual piling up of stuff, that is me clearly leading myself into that space where I'm going to feel overwhelmed and have to deal with that and have to deal with those and have to deal with those things. But it will also come from a place of feeling inspired and doing them and feeling amazing having done them and completed them. But why create the job for myself that I don't have to create by just simply taking a second or two or maybe 5 seconds or maybe even 5 minutes just to put this thing away where it belongs? Because when we finish a task from beginning to the end, when I'm done this video, and I will clean up and organize my desk and put my candle out so that way I don't leave anything burning, and I leave, I feel like my task and everything is completed and I'm done for the day. Now, of course, I'm not going to be done. I have another call to go on. But when I'm done my work day, this is what will happen. Everything will get put away, and I will be for my next call. The candle is still going to be going, but I'll have my other papers ready. When I'm done, I'll put everything away. Boom, 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 done. I don't have to think about it. It's the concept of you going from home to work. can be spread through different areas. Anyways, um, and then Rebecca also said that no space is neat and organize them alive. Some are better than others. I'm overwhelmed because I need time and I have no time. So that is the time block that you you have, that you are working through and battling with, that causes you pain and suffering. And what you the words that you're using and how you're saying it, that is level one. And from that space, it's hard to even create. It's hard to sometimes even see that it's possible for you to have all of your spaces neatly organized, where you know where everything is, and it is clutter free. Because once you start doing that in the different spaces, little by little, it's not all at once. We can't do it all at once. But once you start doing, like in the space where you're at right now, what can you spend 5 minutes doing right now? Just 5 minutes that will organize or declutter or clean up a space just where you are right now, just in that area. Just do one thing, because by doing one, you will have a ripple effect on another, on another, on another, and that builds. Before you know it, your whole entire house is going to be organized. I've been where you are, where I've wanted organization more than anything in my life. I dreamt of it, and just not having it gave me panic attacks or anxiety. And and then little by little, I started organizing different spaces because I also didn't even know how I wanted them organized, or why I wanted them organized, or what I wanted, what I didn't want. It comes from that as well. So your time will come, and it will start to make sense, and everything will start to kind of align and work itself out for you. And before you know it, everything will be organized, and you will look at your journals 15 years from now, like Debbie did, and you will see that your life is the way that you actually wanted it to be. But in order for you to get there, you gotta spend 5 minutes doing the one thing that you don't want to be doing every day. And if it is organizing your spaces, then spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, organizing in a drawer. And if you're not done, you don't have to be done. You can spend 5 minutes another time in that drawer, right? Um, you can schedule it, or you can do it spur of the moment. It depends on how quickly you want to get these things done. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. I gotta hop on a call now. I am going to be seeing you guys another time. Thank you very much for listening, for being here with me. Hopefully, you guys are working away with some some tangible, actionable steps that you can take and do for yourself, that will help you to move yourself forward and closer to the best version of yourself yet. Otherwise, I will see you in one of our next calls. If you are interested in a specific topic, let me know which topic you would like me to cover. I made a quick little video. I haven't tagged everyone in it yet, but it's on the pinned announcement post, where I'm asking everyone to tell me what you're struggling with, what you want help with, and I will put together these get your shit together guidance trainings for you guys on the Thursdays, because Thursdays I want to have more structured, where I want to have titles for the weeks coming up, and they're based on everything that you ladies are struggling with, your problems, struggles, points of areas where you're suffering or maybe suffocating, and I can help you overcome them, right? I'm not going to be doing them for you, obviously. None of this is ever done for you, right? But you'll have at least clarity on what to do next, or maybe the whole entire picture. Anyways, that is all. And until next time, thank you very much. I'll see you in one of our other events that we host. An hour and 30 minutes for you guys. This is a whole entire podcast and a whole entire masterclass, all in one. Yeah, a little bit longer than I expected. But clearly there was a lot that we all needed from this type of a topic. And that's it. Until I hear you guys, or year, you guys. This is like a message. Until I hear from you guys. Bye. Toodaloo. No, until I see you guys in one of our next events. Thank you very much for being part of this video, this creation today. And as always, if you enjoy this community, invite your friends, some family, if you are good with them, you want them to be part of your journey with you. Invite them here to the group so we can grow together and overcome all of these massive obstacles. On the grand scheme of things, are they're small, but they feel so big and massive because in reality they can actually be that massive. Because when we open drawers, I know when I open a drawer, when I don't know if you guys can even see. Can you see this drawer? Yeah, you can see this drawer. When I open my drawer, you can see everything is nicely and neatly organized, and it makes me feel great. But and that's all of my drawers. I'm trying to think, do I have a drawer that's not organized? No, I don't have any drawers that are not organized. I don't have anything that's not organized. Just certain spaces because things need to get put back. But it used to be messy, messy, messy. Like not so much in drawers, but in a lot of bare areas, it used to be very messy and disorganized. And I just needed to figure out what works, how I want my things, and organize them. Right? Pencils, pens, colored pencils, markers, and then further on there's more because these drawers are big. Anyways, I'm not going to be going into that until one of these next events. I'll see you guys.